Now they're playing Team Ontario!
Spirit of reconciliation, Calgary minor football acknowledges that we play on the original territories of the people of Treaty 7 region of Southern Alberta, which includes the Blackfoot First Nation tribes of Siksika, Piikani, and the Gaina, the Stoney Nakoda First Nations of Chiniki, Bearspaw, and Goodstoney, along with the Tsuut'ina First Nation and the Métis Nation of Alberta Region 3. Now will you please rise if you're able, remove your hats and caps for the singing of our national anthem.
Good afternoon, everybody, and welcome to the day number 2 of the 2025 U18 Women's Nationals here in Calgary, Alberta, as we get set for Team Ontario taking on Team Saskatchewan. Brendan Donald here in the booth with you. Hopefully we have ourselves a really good-looking matchup here for this one. Again, taking a look at both of these two teams, Ontario ended up beating Team Alberta in Sunday's primetime matchup, while Team Saskatchewan ended up beating Team Manitoba in game number 2 of Saturday. Game number 2 here today on this field. Taking a look at what happened in last game, Team Manitoba ended up winning by a score of 20-0 over Team National Indigenous. Team Saskatchewan in the green, while Team Ontario is in the white. So we are going to be all ready to go here in just a few moments. Again, 6-on-6, 12-minute quarters going to be played here. So let's listen in to some of the officials.
We have a problem. We'll come through that. Okay? So Saskatchewan, you guys get choice of heads or tails for this coin toss. I have a special coin all the way from London, Ontario. London will be considered tails, okay? The zebra head will be considered heads. Fair enough? So your choice. Call it now. Heads has been called. Heads, so you've won the toss. You can choose now where you can defer to the second head. Kicking, receiving, or picking an end. Saskatchewan has chosen to defer. Ontario, kick, receive, or pick an end. Excellent choice. Receiving. What side do you guys want to kick from? Okay, perfect. Okay. There you guys. Receive, you guys get the second half. Okay, good luck. Have fun.
So Team Saskatchewan ultimately won the coin toss and is deferring. Team Ontario is going to receive the ball first. So we're going to have Team Ontario's offense enter the field of play for the first time here today, as this should be a fun matchup. Both teams looking to try to get the victory to ultimately send themselves to that gold medal matchup tomorrow, or I should say Saturday afternoon, in what should be a fun game. Again, Team Ontario in the white, they will be receiving the ball first. Team Saskatchewan in the green and black. We are almost ready to go. 6-on-6, 12-minute quarters for the 2025 U18 Women's National Championship. Good crowd here in Calgary, Alberta, where these games are being played. Schuldice Field, one of the great facilities here. Crowd is rocking as we get ready. Both teams have brought their fan base out for this one. Sinkota going to be kicking off the ball to get things going here for this game, as it appears Team Saskatchewan making their way back to... Both teams are making their way back. Not really sure what the delay or holdup is here, but officials chatting with both coaching staffs, and we should be getting ready to go here just momentarily. A beautiful day here in Calgary, Alberta, as if you've been around the city, it has been nothing but rain and cloud, but ultimately out here today, weather has been cooperating, and now we are all set and ready to go. Maxine Sinkota, the Yorkton Lady Grinders, in her first season, going to make the kickoff to get this thing going. All the officials are ready, the players are ready, and here we go. This one goes right into the hands of Hornathon Harper. She makes a couple of moves and eventually is tackled at the 50-yard line. Some good starting position for Team Ontario. They're going to be led by Malin Parthenes, the quarterback,
On the 55-yard line.
and looking to try to extend her good play throughout this tournament this weekend. Parthenes all alone in the backfield, or actually has a running back to her side. Let's see what play number one's going to offer us up here. That one's a toss out to the left, moving this one around. That is Porter making a good initial run, getting us very close to a first down.
Tackled up on the Saskatchewan 45-yard line. First down, Ontario. Second and one.
So we are going to be having a 2nd and 1 play coming up here. Parthenes alone with Sarah Porter. Porter making that first down run. 2nd and inches. That snap a little bit of a fumble, but Porter's able to get this one, but she's going to be swallowed up right along the line. And Team Saskatchewan's defense might have just delayed that first down.
On the play by number 59, Trista Kelly.
Sarah Porter coming in and kind of covering that one up.
Short of the game, third down.
Very, very close right there. Gabriel, welcome as we get ready for a big 3rd down play here early in this one. Parthenes under center, turns this around, hands this one off, and we have a big run. Sarah Porter could go all the way. She has nothing but green grass, and we have a touchdown.
46
Sarah
yards.
Porter, what a beauty. Some good redirection. Sarah Porter, Gabriel just found a crease and took that one the distance.
Yeah, just went right outside the end. Managed to get that end sealed off. Beat the tight end on there.
Doing a good job at just finding the space and then just outrunning everyone on that one. No one even close to getting by her.
turned it into a foot race and took it away.
That one not quite able to get back, and so it remains 6-0. Again, if you're just joining us for the first time this weekend, PATs are worth 2, and if you decide to ultimately run the ball in, that is only a result of 1. So,
yeah, 2 points for a kick field goal, 1 point for a touchdown scored on a convert. And that's amongst the other 6-a-side rules. The other rules being, of course, 6 players per side. And that's pretty much all of them, since we are playing with a 110-yard field.
Yeah, again, we do have a little bit skinnier fields out here because you can see both the sidelines. Again, you're not going to go sideline to sideline here. The blue lines on the field is our official sidelines here for this tournament. The end zones, instead of being the traditional 20, are only 10 yards deep. So that is another quick small change. But after the big explosive drive from Team Ontario, let's see how Team Saskatchewan ultimately reacts in this one. A little bit of a squib kick. Continuing to move this one forward. Madison Judd able to pick this one up. Again, those squib kicks are always a little bit difficult, pretty much right coming at you. Almost like a line drive that a shortstop has to slow up, but good job by Judd to bring this one forward.
Saskatchewan on Ontario's 48-yard line.
First and 10.
Oh, it's going to be first and 10 at the 54-yard line. Ella Schenner, the quarterback for Team Saskatchewan, had herself quite the game yesterday, both a mobile but also a passer. Both players go in. She ends up picking this one right up and goes right through the middle and ends up gaining about 5 or 6 on that one.
Takes
and taken down by Ontario's number 27, Madison Justine.
Again, a nice little run on first down, setting things up 2nd and 5. Kind of really operating nicely, giving yourself tons of space. Schenner with it. She ends up rolling with this again. She has a little bit of space. Doesn't quite get to the first down marker, so this is going to be 3rd and short.
Will be short. 3rd down, Saskatchewan.
So looking at a 3rd and 2 coming up here.
Tackle in the play,
and Team Ontario did such a bang-up job on their offensive possession. Team Saskatchewan trying to also have a good-looking drive here.
Shotgun.
Out of the shotgun here, motions for some of her receivers. All right, well that's going to be a procedure.
Yep. That'll back them up 5 yards.
Making that next play call just that little bit more difficult. Again, when you have a relatively easy chunk, only having to deal with 2, now moving back almost
procedure penalty will send them back.
The original line of scrimmage, it makes it a little bit tricky.
Yeah, that'll back them up 5 yards, so now it's a 3rd and 7. Very different play.
Schenner all alone. Receiver and a running back. Positioned out wide, getting a long running start. She receives it, and she's electing to just punt this one deep, and that one's going to go out around the 15-yard line. So one of those interesting plays where the quarterback selects to take the punt, kind of giving a different look to the defense.
Yeah, quick kick play, which has the advantage of making both that receiver and running back onside. However, they did not have much of a chance to play that ball, so in that quick kick situation, it's not a regular punt, so there's things like contacting the kicker that is no longer in play, but it allows them to get that play off with players onside in the hopes of recovering it. Ball did go out of bounds at about the 15-yard line, so it'll be 1st and 10, Team Ontario.
Parthen is back out there for Team Ontario again. The first drive for Ontario, again, you can really only say it was picture perfect, just driving it down, making a handful of really nice plays. Again, they did start around the center field yard, so it wasn't as long of a field as you're going to have to deal with here now, but obviously Team Saskatchewan able to drive that ball a little bit farther down the field, but let's see how Team Ontario ultimately comes with it. Parthenis and Porter. Porter having herself a handful of really good runs on that first drive.
50-50 draw. You can scan a QR.
The U18 Nationals would like to thank Tourism Calgary for all their support in this year's tournament, including a special surprise following the championship game.
The draw closes at 7:30 p.m.
Some of the officials having a quick word, maybe exchanging a football out here.
You get your tickets today. Also, the U18.
Gabriel, I know you do a handful of officiating, and so, particularly in the CJFL, obviously just trying to make sure everything is cool, calm, and collected, making sure everything's proper down on the field.
Yeah, definitely, and having multiple footballs simply just helps the officials get the game flowing a little bit faster and making sure that everyone's that we've got a football throughout the whole thing.
And another good run from Porter. She ends up finding the sideline and eventually pushed out of bounds. Sarah Porter, my oh my. She has been a force to be reckoned with early in this one. Pretty much the second that she's able to find the outside, it is mostly just a foot race and just hopes and prayers that you can push her out of bounds.
That's right, and she's making a really good play by reading that block off the end and then making it rounding the tackle to be able to go for quite a distance.
Let's see what Ontario draws up here. Running has been very prevalent early in this one. A little bit of motion, handing this one off, a little bit of an awkward exchange, and that's going to be a fumble and picked up by Team Saskatchewan. A massive, massive turnover early in this one.
Maxine Sinkota is the defensive player that recovered that fumble and ran with it for a couple of yards.
It's always good when you can get a turnover on an error of a team and put your offense back out there after they were looking quite good. Shenner now back with the football. She motions some of her receivers, ends up tossing that one over to James. And that one tackled behind the line of scrimmage. Ontario's defense read that one perfectly.
Tackle for a loss by Madeline Justine, and there she was just a matter of her winning the foot race and came up to her from behind to make that. Saskatchewan had a lead block, but Justine just manages to catch up to it.
It's always good to have a loss of yards on that first down play to just really slow things up and really force your opponents to almost start to look to pass that ball. Shenner with it. She motions right. She has all sorts of space. Can she get towards the sideline, continuing to move with it and able to get that first down? What a run.
Able to get the first down, just saw the opening there with two receivers. They seemed to draw out all the defenders of that on that side of the field and opened it right up for her.
Back on Sunday when Saskatchewan was playing Manitoba, Shenner, she used her legs to all sorts of damage, and you're seeing that again early in this one where when you have a mobile quarterback, that causes a lot of fits for defenses. Yep. She's all alone in her backfield at the moment. Eventually the ball is snapped and she's able to make one move. She's going to be able to gain a couple of yards on that play. But just another situation where you're having that quarterback draw that makes it so difficult for defensive coordinators to really dial up how you stop that.
Yeah, and on that one there in particular, the large gain was in huge part thanks to Trista Kelly and Haley Norquist, who managed to open up that area for her to run up.
Snap. Looking to pass, trying to get that one just over the head of Ellie Wicks. Very, very close. So we're going to go to third and about 6 on this play. And so deep in enemy territory, currently up by a touchdown. It appears the offense is sticking out there.
Yeah, it's a decision to make at this point, and especially at this distance, that you're approaching field goal range, which six-a-side football, a field goal is still only worth 3 points, but within that range, inside the 10, they're sticking out with the offense.
Jenner all alone. Motioning her receivers, takes the snap, elects to run it, tries to get to the outside, and she's going to be covered up. That's going to be a turnover of downs, but we do have a late flag on the field. Gabriel, with you being unofficial, I'm going to basically allow you to take all the penalty sort of stuff up here in the booth.
Sure.
Sounds like it's going to be an unnecessary roughness call on the penalty.
Now the question is whether or not it is going to be ruled as live ball or dead ball. If it's dead ball on a third down after the play is over, then the turnover stands because it's a turnover on downs. If it's ruled as being live ball, the play is still alive. They get the automatic first down applied at the end of the play, which at this point on the field would lead to having the ball on the 1 yard line. It really depends on whether or not it's before or after.
Right now, just kind of looking at Team Ontario, they're moving towards it being that 1 yard line. So looks like it was a first down, and of course, a first down on the 1 yard line. That just opens up so many possibilities. With Schenner being such a mobile quarterback, there's a lot you can do here.
That's right, yeah. And unnecessary roughness unrestricted, it does put it on the 1 yard line.
A little bit of a dysfunction at the junction, and that's going to be picked up by Ontario as that one just stayed in bounds. Very similar to Team Saskatchewan getting the fumble on last Ontario ball.
And this is going to be ruled as a turnover, last touch by Ontario before going out of bounds. So it's now Ontario's ball at the 7 yard line.
We have seen the 2 turnovers so far in this game caused from fumbles from the center towards the quarterback. It seems to be a little bit of a trend so far this week, is just a little bit of an awkward situation. Good job, I believe that was by number 15 trying to jump after that one. Portness back out there, tosses that one, gets it over to Porter. Team Saskatchewan does a fairly bang-up job slowing that one down.
Taken down by a host of Saskatchewan tacklers, including number 59, Trista Kelly.
PA announcer describing that one quite well. A host of Saskatchewan defenders all coming in to slow that one up, as Sarah Porter really just trying to find anything, and she's been effective so far through this one. That handoff going back the other way. Trying to sneak this one through. Harper unable to get anything on that one. Team Saskatchewan's defense looking good so far.
Drea Wren with absolutely perfect contain there, staying on the outside and pushing the ball carrier back towards the inside, making sure that if she does get pushed that she's right there to catch it, and it turned out perfectly. She kept contained and was in the perfect position to make the tackle.
3rd and 9. Unlikely to see a offensive play here, bringing out the punt unit, but we have seen some interesting sort of situations throughout this week. Ball is up. Halfway decent looking punt, as that one is touched and it's just going to be jumped on top by Ellie Wicks, saying, you know what, I'm just going to jump on top of it and not allow anything extra. There was enough space from everyone on that didn't have to worry about the new yardage.
And it's always a little bit of a gamble when you're choosing whether you want to take a punt or concede a safety at that point on the field. Conceding a safety now, there's no more option for a kickoff, so you get the ball on the 35, or give the opponent the ball on the 35, that is, in exchange for 2 points. It's a very different situation here. Instead, they're going to be on the opponent's 30.
A great looking opening part to this drive for Team Saskatchewan, as that one, a little bit of a screen, goes right through, and a potential big break. Ontario is going to be able to slow that one up. Madison Judd with an excellent slow. Again, having those running back screens kind of like that, and a lot of times you see offensive linemen move to the left or right, never just kind of just standing there and kind of opening up space, but that was a really beautiful drawn up play.
And Khalees Daniel on the tackle there managed to stop that and prevent a scoring play.
Schenner has it. Had to jump up a little bit, but she's going to elect to run this one. Has a little bit of space, goes towards the sideline, and not quite able to get that one on the 1st and goal, but coming very, very close.
Forced out of bounds by number 11.
And Team Saskatchewan had essentially a handful of plays to try to get that touchdown on their last offensive possession, but ended up fumbling the ball, and having another great offensive possession here sets a lot of things up.
Once again, very good lead block on that play.
Schenner and Wicks. Schenner is going to elect to take this one. She's going to go right up the middle, and she scores. The quarterback elects to take the rush right up the middle. This mobile quarterback is very, very difficult to slow down. I always talk with defensive coordinators, having an incredibly mobile quarterback really, really makes things difficult, especially if you want to run man coverage.
And here it's just a matter of the ball was open up just enough.
As the kick.
Sakota's kick is good.
The kick is ruled as good, but we do have, from what we hear, a penalty marker down on the field. The officials having a good long discussion about this, and flag does come out.
Here we go, James.
Just trying to see officially what's coming over here from your official's standpoint, from your keen eye.
The initial signal was for unnecessary roughness pointing towards Team Ontario, and after a convert, there's the option of, by the team that made the kick, they could get the convert again or apply it to the kickoff.
Appears they're going to apply this one on the kickoff again. When it goes up through the uprights, makes this a 8-6 game. No reason to try to take the risk and end up missing that one.
Yep. That's right. Once you have a penalty on a convert, there's the option of applying it on the convert, applying the yardage on the kickoff, and then redoing the convert. But if the convert's good and the team, the non-offending team is the team that just scored, they'll often just select to accept it and go to the kickoff.
We'd like to take this time to acknowledge the government of Alberta for their generous financial contributions for the U18 national tournament and their continued support to minor football in Alberta. So, Team Saskatchewan having two really, really good back-to-back drives. Ultimately, this last one ends in a touchdown. Team Ontario, their last one, pretty much in the shadow of their own end zone the entire time. It's a little bit tricky to ultimately get that one out. What do you think Team Ontario needs to do here?
Well, at this point, they're starting inside of their own. The kickoff is from their Team Ontario's 50.
Able to move this one around is Foley. It's taken down right around the 32-yard line.
Katie Foley with a run back there managed to get a few yards. She catches it and runs for a solid 15 yards.
It's always good when, especially you have that penalty, trying to go a little bit back, allowing your returner to at least gain you some yardage. Again, maybe not necessarily as far as you would be, but again, not being in the shadow of your own end zone really makes this helpful. Pardon us.
And we'll see if this Team Ontario offense can leverage their speed on foot to be able to get a little bit more distance here.
Couple of redirections and eventually going to be moved forward with Porter. Lots of movement. Seeing as I do have an official in the booth, I'm going to use this opportunity to ask a bunch of standpoints from the official's eye. When you see a lot of that behind-the-line movement, what are some of the things that you guys are particularly looking for to really distinguish whether it should be a penalty or not?
When it comes to the players that are behind the line of scrimmage, they're not lined up on the line, their movement doesn't really make that much of a difference. They might be waggling up to the line, in which case you're checking to see if they stay onside. But just players shifting position, not that big of a deal really in terms of the rules.
Hawthorne Harper unable to come down with that reception. So third down brings out the punting unit here for Team Ontario. And this is, again, going to put Team Saskatchewan in really, really advantageous field position. Ellie Wick's going to be back to return. Punt is up.
Kick is up.
Wick's able to catch that one. Makes one move. Has a lot of space. Can she find the corner? Eventually gets taken down by Boomer. Julia Boomer with a nice open field tackle.
Number 26, Ellie Wicks.
And a lot of times, particularly at this level, we see a lot more punts received off of the ground, but that one was picked off in the air and just able to find a lot of space. And Ellie Wicks does a really nice job at creating even better field position for her team. Again, this is now the third drive inside the 40 that it's starting at, and that makes a world of difference.
And you can really see the difference with a punt that's caught in the air. The returner's in stride. They're running already once they get the ball. Rather than having to slow down and try to pick it up, they get a lot more of a gain from that.
Shaner looks to throw. She completes that pass, and that one's going to be in and out of the hands. Fumble going to be recovered by Nordquist. Or it looks like it was going to be recovered by Nordquist. Team Ontario might have ended up coming away with it, and they do.
Ellie Wicks on the recovery for that one. Sorry, no, that's Addison Burnett.
So talk about giving your offense a little bit more life, as clearly a football move was made, and that one just bounced out. Team Saskatchewan now back on defense.
Alyssa Pistrito was also on that recovery.
Arness hands this one off. Porter sends this one forward, and she's going to be stuffed around the 36-yard line.
Several Team Saskatchewan defenders on that one that stopped her and slowed her down. Maxine Shinshoka was the leader amongst them. This doesn't seem like a defense that you can get a lot just by running it up the middle. They're going to be there. That D-line is going to be present and physical in stopping those plays.
Again, pass looks out, gets to Porter, a little bit of space, makes one move, and gets right towards the first down marker, and I think she got it.
Morgan Hayes on the tackle was covering that receiver throughout that entire play and was fortunately very in the right spot there. There was otherwise only an open field to go and chase down, but having been in the right spot, reading the play, and manages to make the tackle.
We do have a Team Saskatchewan player a little bit slow on the play, but Sarah Porter, the running back, having someone that can go out there and catch the ball as well as run it causes just so much problems for defensive coordinators, because not only do you have to worry about them just with their rushing ability, but along with them coming out of the backfield. Again, I always go back to the classic Matt Forte for the Bears for years, was just such a dangerous player. And again, Porter, we've seen her abilities just running the ball, now catching it out of the backfield. That's a whole new wrinkle for Team Saskatchewan.
That's right. Yeah, being able to to make that kind of a pass, especially when you had as much pressure coming up the middle from with the offensive line doing their job protecting from those blockers, but then that cleared up that entire side of the field and made one receiver, Porter, completely wide open.
And that's going to do it for our first quarter of play. So we're going to be heading to the second quarter, making a quick swap on sides. We'd like to thank the Make a Diff Sports Foundation for their support in growing women's sports at the grassroots level, innovation and developing programs across the province since 2013. We'd like to give a shout out to Hellberg & Burt and NFL Canada for their support in providing special gifts for all of our tournament award winners. All right, second quarter of football, 8-6 for Team Saskatchewan over Team Ontario. Team Ontario in the white. Parthenis.
Now defending a south end zone, Saskatchewan in the north.
She gets the ball. She's going to look to try to take this shot deep. Can she get there? Just a little bit over top. Haythorne Harper, the one who was looking to try to get that one just a little bit out of the reach of her fingertips.
Yeah, just a little bit too long, and was definitely still running down the field.
One thing that a really solid, heavy run game, what that does is that really starts to open up some shots downfield, because again, you're always expecting run, so you start to stack the box a little bit more. That's one of the things that Ontario really used to exploit on this one. Parthenis tries to send this one and just cannot connect on that pass as well. So third and long, after a couple of good plays, Team Saskatchewan's defense comes up clutch.
The coverage is definitely clearly there on Saskatchewan's defensive backs. They're making sure that they're on top of this play and reading it, making sure that none of the receivers are left alone. Saskatchewan's Raina James was all over there and was ready for that ball to be thrown in that direction.
It's always good to have your linebacker show up good in coverage, especially against a wide receiver. Oftentimes, they deal a little bit more with the running backs and the tight ends. This punt is brought down. Ellie Wicks able to pick this one up, this time off of the bounce, able to get this one to the 49-yard line.
Yeah, still managed to get a good solid gain of about 6 yards, breaking that first tackle and then still running up and getting a good gain. Kind of a line drive punt there that went over the middle. Picked up off the ground, but still just as it's bouncing. still able to get it in stride.
Able to break one initial tackle, which oftentimes if you can break that first tackle, you can pretty much put yourself into a decent position. And again, Team Saskatchewan may be in a little bit of unknown territory as
and Sarah Porter on that play showing off that she's also got tackling abilities, being the one that stopped the return.
And we do have an extra penalty on the play, which is going to move Team Saskatchewan's offense a little bit back. So so far, the worst field position to start with for Team Saskatchewan. Pretty much everything else has been within the 30-yard line, or at least the 40. So let's see how much open field.
Yeah, you're on your own 32. It's pretty average field position, but so far that's the furthest back they've started. So
Jenner, she motions left, has some space, breaks one tackle, tries to break another, ultimately going to be taken down right around the 37-yard line.
Left side.
Again, we've talked about it a little bit throughout this one, but just a mobile quarterback just causes so many problems because, again, when she does decide to throw the ball, that also creates a wrinkle because she could just motion out to her left or motion out to her right, decide, you know what, I am going to throw the ball, and that creates just a whole new hiccup for a defense.
that's right, and having both of the running backs there on blocking duty in front, making sure that they're opening up that space, gives a large amount of flexibility for the offense. And here we see a screen pass right over the middle.
This one's looking good so far. Easily going to be a first down. Telski able to pick this one up for an easy first down. The tight end screen coming up clutch here again.
Saskatchewan.
The classic screen pass, when you see the linemen that let up on their blocks, let those blockers through, they look like they're about to go sack the quarterback, and the quarterback just dumps it right over the middle. A short little pass over their heads. The linemen are already moving down the field to the next level, and then they've got blockers in front of them.
Ball is hiked. Jenner with another running opportunity, avoids one tackle, gets close to the first down marker. She is just running all over the field here in this one.
Number 31, Robin Price, and number 11, Kaylis Daniel. Second down.
So again, Team Ontario, their defense been out for quite a bit of time in this game, really just trying to slow things down. And on that first down play, Team Saskatchewan using their mobile quarterback to gain 8.
2nd and 1.
Handoff coming. This time it's going right up the middle, and that one's stuffed almost immediately. Atlanta slows that one.
Completely stopped there in middle of progress. Robin Price with the tackle there absolutely did not allow a single yard to be gained.
Atlanta tried to go right up the middle on that one, but met by a pair of Ontario defenders, really slowing things up there. So actually potentially even lost a yard on that play. So let's see what Saskatchewan draws up here. Jenner all alone in the backfield. Potentially going to see an offside, and we are.
Alex Jenner is met behind the line of scrimmage by number 31, Robin.
So that play ultimately going to work in Saskatchewan's favor. The hard count on that particular occasion messing with Ontario just that little bit.
We'll wait to see what the official decision is here. However, an offside by the defense would result in a first down being gained, so that would get them the distance that they need to be determined if that's what's being called.
Saskatchewan number 6, Alex Gamalanta.
Offside. Number 8 on the defense, 5-yard penalty.
So it will be a first down after the applied penalty, gaining 5 yards and first down distance. There's also a player down on the field.
Alex Gamalanta a little bit shaken up after that play, running back on the last 2 rushes, being helped off, but able to walk off under her own power. So just got to hope it's maybe just a little bit of a stinger or maybe a little bit of a cramping situation. And she's able to make her way back out on the field. So the ball at the 45-yard line.
Down Saskatchewan on Ontario's 45-yard line.
Jenner all alone. Another screen pass. This is a big time play. This one's moving forward. Sneaking this one by. This is Judd. Madison Judd, after the screen pass, brings this one forward for an excellent gain.
In particular with this offense, that screen pass is going to be effective once the defense sees that they've got a straight line to the quarterback. They might not be looking at what else is going on. There's an open receiver directly behind all three of those linemen as they were charging.
Again, just running through the O-line. I always wonder as a commentator how the defensive linemen, when they get through and break through so easily, again, a lot of times they do know it's a screen. Sometimes their eyes just get a little bit too big and they just go, well, this is going to be the easiest sack of my life. And sometimes they maybe forget to put the hands up in the air and say, you know what, I'm just going to try to knock this one down.
Yeah, you got to remember to put your hands up if you're gonna come through in that way, because you want to try to get your hands on the ball if it's going to be a pass. Especially in that scenario, and I think in this one their eyes all got big. You can see the way that they were moving. They were thinking sack, and the quarterback was thinking something else.
And you don't necessarily need every single defensive lineman that's breaking through to ultimately kind of put the hands up there and kind of get everything slowed up. But as long as one can get there, you can just slow the rhythm and timing of that quarterback just that little bit more. And yeah, nice big gain.
Yeah, it turned out pretty good, pretty strong gain in that one ultimately, because once the pass was complete, the other receivers had run their routes properly and it cleared up the entire center of the field.
So after this timeout, we should be getting to first and goal right around the 20-yard line. And we should be able to get this one kicking off here relatively shortly. 7:43 still remaining in this second quarter of play. And what has been a very close match between these two teams.
Big first down, Saskatchewan on Ontario's.
Some of the officials still having a word with, I want to say that's one of the coaching staffs.
Looks like they'll be getting underway right away here. The other coaching staff also needing to have a word.
I know for myself as a broadcaster, you're always wanting to talk with officials, and you see it in every sport, whether it's football, baseball, basketball, hockey. Officials talk with one coaching staff, making their way over to the other. Is it pretty much just going over there and just trying to clear everything up of what the conversation is, or is it just trying to have a little bit of an earful from the coaches?
Well, there can be a legitimate question, and then the idea of then going and talking to the other one is making sure that whatever might have been communicated that's essential to how the game's working is told to both teams. It's not always the case that you're necessarily going to go talk to both, but maybe just a quick word just to explain maybe a clarification that's been given on one side, that the same thing is given to the other. Whether it's a clarification on an application or on how things are being ruled on or what the standard is, and that's just to make sure that everybody's got the same info.
Ellie Wicks unable to come down with that pass, but she definitely had herself a little bit of space. Good movement in the pocket right there, but just not able to bring that one down. So 2nd and 10 coming up here in opponent's territory. You find yourself down by a score. Jenner with it. Moving this one forward, goes up the middle, has a little bit of space, tries to make one cut. Doesn't quite get to the 10-yard line, but comes much closer and makes this a much more interesting decision here on 3rd down.
Number 31, Robin Price, and number 27, Maddie Judston. They'll be short.
So as we can see here, again, using your very mobile quarterback to try to ultimately go out there. Breaks one tackle, can't break the other.
Taken down by Robin Price on that play. And this is another place where you might consider going for a field goal, but looks like they're keeping the offense in.
Again, 3rd and 4 here right now. Pass going and just not able to get it. And Team Ontario's defense comes up clutch on that play. Turnover on downs, really forcing Team Ontario to yet again have another, you would say, more poor starting field position. So, Team Ontario, again, they do find themselves down by a score here at the moment. points. Either get a field goal or a touchdown to take the lead. Rouge wouldn't do it. Handoff giving. Sarah Porta met immediately at the line of scrimmage. Nowhere to go.
Once again, that attempt down the middle of the line is you're going to be met by Saskatchewan's defensive line.
Again, adjustments are made all the time throughout games, and we saw earlier in this one, Porter break it to the outside. Since then, we've seen a lot more of Team Ontario trying to rush the ball up the middle. I wonder if you got to start to try to get that ball back to the outside.
I think that's probably the way to go, because you're going up, and number 64, Riley Fatisher is going to be stopping you there.
Nice looking pass play. Trying to get this one in and out of the hands. Just cannot come down with that. Kiana Grant just not able to come away with that one. A great looking play. Just didn't get successful on all parts of it. Again, just picking this one up. Kiana Grant able to get behind the defenders, and if she was able to come down with that, she might still be running.
Yeah, she had definitely the entire field open in front of her, 3 defenders behind, and the ball was positioned in the right spot. Come in with that one, and you've got a lot of field in front of you.
Punt, that is ultimately going to have a nice little bounce. Ellie Wicks chasing after that one.
It'll be marked out of bounds at the 49-yard line. So once again, Saskatchewan gets the ball inside Ontario territory.
Again, after that last drive, again, trying to go for it on 3rd and medium in your opponent's 20, really slowing them up, and it's causing Team Ontario to be a little bit more scrambling on that one. So you're just putting your offense out there in really good positions.
In shotgun.
Jenner with it. Wicks to her side. She motions her receiver in. Hands this one off to Wicks up the middle. She tries to make one tackle. Stuffed right around the line of scrimmage.
Madeline Justician with the tackle there.
27, Maddie Judston. It'll be a short gain on the play, 2nd down.
So 1-yard gain on the play. Jenner all alone in the backfield. Motions her receivers out wide. Gets the snap. Has the 4 defenders in front of her. Looks to make that pass. Tries to get it to Wicks. Wicks able to catch this one down and drag down at the 21-yard line. But we do have a deep flag on the play. Wondering what
Wicks
this could potentially
pull that
be.
one in, was able to complete that one and get the ball all the way, completed the pass and able to run for a few more after.
Interested to see what the call on the field is going to be.
Yeah, unsure as of right now. They are waving the sticks ahead.
Number 31, that penalty will be declined because the game was greater. First down, Saskatchewan.
So penalty is declined because the gain is officially greater on that play, but Ellie Wicks, again, we talk about that running back using their hands, and she was able to come down with that one on the little bit of a wheel route on that particular occasion. And Team Saskatchewan continuing to move this ball beautifully. Jenner all alone, motions right, takes that toss, and a little bit off target on that particular occasion.
And a lot of pressure by Team Ontario's defense there, both at the line and also at the defensive backs, not giving a single opportunity and being very preventative on that entire play.
So 2nd and 10 going to be the next call. Again, you would have to imagine that if Team Ontario gets the stop here without allowing a first down, you'd suspect Team Saskatchewan ultimately would try to go for it on 3rd down. Worked out for them quite well last time. We're going to see a penalty coming right up the middle as Schenner gets taken down right around that 15-yard line, but it's likely going to have a few extra on that one, the free play.
Yeah, it doesn't look like the gain was quite that distance, so likely going to apply the penalty if it's against the defense here. Our referee, Jake Webb, is just reviewing the options with the captains, making sure that everybody's on the same page.
Again, multiple flags immediately were thrown.
Defense, number 8. It'll be a 5-yard penalty, and we're going to repeat second down.
So repeat second down. Makes this a little bit more manageable for Schenner and her crew out there. Wicks right beside her, out of the shotgun. Everyone's motioning right. Schenner has a little bit of space, cuts this one through, able to get very close to the 5-yard line. Another big run, first down, Team Saskatchewan.
KS Daniel. Last stop before Schenner picks up a first down, Saskatchewan.
Good couple bits of run. Team Saskatchewan doing a fairly bang-up job throughout this one. Just continuing to apply. Just a little under 4 minutes remaining. Team Saskatchewan look to try to take at least a 2-score lead here. Wide receiver motion. Hands this one off to Wicks. She goes up the middle. Trying to apply some force. Tries to reach out. Did she get it? No, she did not. Officials wave that one down at the 1.
Number 26, Addison Gallant.
So it'll be second down on the 1-yard line here.
Second down goal, Saskatchewan.
And potentially bringing out the heavier personnel as Schenner right under center. Could potentially see that tush-push style right up the middle, and that's going to be in for a score.
Touchdown, Saskatchewan!
Ella Schenner with her second on a methodical drive that marched them down. And again, the biggest difference between these two teams so far in this one, field position ultimately coming into effect for one team over the other.
Here comes the convert.
Do have a penalty marker down on the field. So we might be doing this one again.
Dakota's convert flag on the play.
So offside is sounding like on the play, just waiting to see which team ultimately happened. As we take a look at the replay here. Point after was no good.
2 points after.
2 points, yes indeed.
We have offside, anyone on the defense. It's a 5-yard penalty, which will be applied on the kickoff. And we will redo.
I have to say, as the broadcaster, love to hear the penalty, everyone on the defense. Similar to back in the day where you hear the penalty, everyone on the offensive line except the center, as that one is blocked. And we do have another penalty on the play. This one could potentially have us kicking this ball yet again.
Wicks, the holder on the convert team, as well as Maxine Sinkota is the kicker.
Could we potentially have an additional extra point kick or point, extra point after? Point still stands. Could we have an additional kick here? Waiting for the official announcement. Looks like we are going to be doing the kick yet again.
If I just say roughness, 27 on the defense, roughing the player, 15 yards on the kickoff, you do the convert.
Some of the Ontario fans clearly not happy with the call. 3:08 remaining in the second quarter of play.
Hayden Ship now in holding.
That one without a doubt blocked, could not quite connect with the long snapper. And folks, stop me if you've heard this one before, but we got ourselves another penalty.
Blocked. Flag on the play.
This is kind of turned into a little bit of chaos here for this PAT. While I wasn't going to say third time's a charm, could we potentially get a fourth time's a charm?
See the replay here.
When the hitter is on the ground, they are considered a long goal, and they're not allowed to be hit. even if the ball is blocked. We have unnecessary roughness, roughing the pinner, 31 Ontario, with a penalty applied on the kickoff.
So that's now the third penalty that will be applied on the kickoff. There was initially the offside, the first unnecessary roughness, and now a second one, so we're looking at a 35-yard march up on the kickoff.
Let's just see if we can get this kick off, and that one is officially blocked, so all of that to eventually have no good on the PAT, but yeah, 3 penalties that are going to essentially be applied on the kickoff.
We will be kicking off from fairly far within already Ontario's end of the field. So here you're looking at potentially a different tactic on your kicking team and on your kick return team.
Yeah, again, we've talked about so much throughout this game so far where Team Saskatchewan has been able to post Team Ontario deep in their own end zone. This could potentially be another situation of where they're posted deep into their own territory.
That's right.
Often talk about how field position can dictate a game from time to time, and it has definitely been a factor throughout this one.
So we're going to see the penalties marched off here. So from the 50, or from the 45 to the Ontario 50, from the Ontario 50 to the Ontario 35, and then from the 30. So the kickoff line will be the 30, the restraining line the 20.
I have to say, I have never seen a kickoff this far into an opponent's territory. I've never seen a team kick off in an opponent's territory regardless.
Oh, we had one earlier this game.
No, you're right. This is deep. Ball is up. It's going to be caught. Trying to find a little bit of space. Gets this one up to around the 15-yard line.
Kickoff is taken by number 1, Braylon Hopper.
Like you said, field position is still making a big difference. Ontario recovering the ball here just inside the 16-yard line.
16-yard line.
So with 3 minutes remaining in this game, still only one score here at the moment. But a golden opportunity for Ontario to try to go into halftime, trying to tie this game up as opposed to being down by a score. Let's see ultimately what they're capable of doing here to open this drive. Parthenas. All alone in the backfield. Motions her receivers. Has to pick that one up off the ground. Has some pressure coming towards her. Has to rush this one. It's going to be caught, but only for a short game. Hawthorne Harper able to come down with the ball.
Be a 5-yard gain.
Managed to catch that ball despite the pressure that was there.
And good job.
Hawthorne Harper with pressure from Richard Dupont.
Good job by Parthenas on that one, staying in the pocket, not worrying too much about the pressure. She's all alone in her backfield. Picks this one up, looks to toss this one deep, trying to get it to her, and that one unable to. That's a clear pass interference. Hawthorne Harper turning around, trying to get that one, and it is clear. Often talking with a lot of play callers on the offensive side of the ball, they'll tell their quarterback, listen, if you have a one-on-one type situation, just throw it down the field, and if it is a little bit short, allow your receiver to kind of come back, because oftentimes those do get called as pass interferences. So we get to see a fresh set of downs here for Team Ontario.
The infraction on the field happened further down than 15 yards, so it's a 15-yard penalty applied. We can see here that it was a matter of having the arms up for that entire duration of the ball being in the air. So that's screening. Screening is a pass interference. You don't actually have to contact the receiver for that to be illegal.
Parthenas, all alone, has to scramble out of the pocket. Still looking to throw it. Ends up tucking this one down. Has a little bit of space. She is going to go all the way. No one's going to catch her. Ontario touchdown. What a play. Made something out of nothing.
That's a 73-yard play, 73-yard run all the way to the end zone.
Parthenis, it wasn't perfect for her. Again, having to move around in the pocket, rolls out right. We do have a penalty marker. I'm assuming that's going to be for excessive celebration.
It was marked as no infraction there.
Oh, no infraction. Good catch. Thank you. It's good to have an official up in the booth with you from time to time.
I just always know what they're doing.
So this one could end up tying the game if it's completed. And that one's going to be blocked. So Parthenis with the long run takes that one all the way down. And what an offensive drive for Team Saskatchewan, or for Team Ontario.
Katie Foley with the hold as well. Just couldn't get it high enough, blocked, and stopped that from going. And that does make a difference in the score here. It's now 14-12.
Birdie's concession.
Getting very, very close.
Drink needs.
We'd like to shout out Hilbergenberg and NFL Canada for their support in providing special gifts for all of our tournament award winners. We'd like to thank Lion Fetcher Wedding and Oculus Private Wealth for their financial support and event management, making this year's tournament shine like never before. Thank you to all of our excellent sponsors who make this tournament exactly what it is here today.
Saskatchewan's got 2 returners, back to return.
Ball's out. Going to be collected off of the ground, trying to find a little bit of space, and that one's going to be wrapped up. Great play by Daniel.
Taken by number 81, Kenza Duro. Quickly tackled on the play.
So with
by
2 minutes, 5 seconds remaining in this half of football, let's see what Team Saskatchewan can do after having a couple of really, really successful past offensive drives. The last one ultimately ended in a touchdown that ended up having the most unique point after I probably have seen while calling football. Jenner, all alone. Tries to go on that wide receiver screen. That one's going to be closed up pretty much immediately.
number 81, Kenza Duro.
Again there, it looks like it's only pretty much back at the same spot. If anything, maybe a loss.
It'll be second down, Saskatchewan.
A loss of a couple of inches, if anything, on that play. Wide receiver screen ultimately not coming to fruition on that one. Picking this one up. Jenner looks to pass, steps up in the pocket, tosses this one deep. Ella Wicks has some space. She's going, but taken down at the 40-yard line. What a play, Team Saskatchewan.
Really an excellent pass right there. Could see that Wicks had just found the right spot between the defenders that were on there and got herself just in the right position.
Wicks has been able to do that a handful of times throughout this game, just finding a hole in the defense. And what a job by Ella Schenner to just fire that one down the field, not only to get it down accurately, but in front of Ellie Wicks to allow her to continue to run with the ball. You don't really want your wide receiver trying to make a spinning move to try to catch that one. Schenner avoids one tackle there for the moment, having to run the ball, tries to get this one at least to the original line of scrimmage where she's going to be stopped.
Schenner will take the ball herself.
Not much of a gain on this first down.
Met at the line of scrimmage by
Turning something into out of nothing, at least on that one. What would have been a 5 to 7 yard loss. Eventually able to break away from that one and move this one forward.
Here the ball is just a little bit too wide. Being 6 aside, the goalposts are used as the indicator for how far wide the ball can be.
So nonetheless, back to it. Minute still remaining. Jenner all alone here on second down. looking to pass, steps up in the pocket, tries to find Ellie Wicks and just can't quite get her. It's a little bit ahead of her.
Might have gotten the sun in her eyes there, because when you're looking directly over top of your head for the football, it's a difficult thing when if you're looking over one shoulder or over the other shoulder. It's okay. If it's directly back above, you can get the sun, you can get all sorts of things that'll make it difficult to catch that. And of course, we're surrounded by defenders, so any amount of contact will be really unnerving at that point.
So we've seen a few instances with this Team Saskatchewan offensive where they'll actually be out there. Schenner elects to punt it. Let's see what she does here. It does appear that she's going to go that way and just boots this one up in the air. Team Ontario was ready for it. That one dropped down on the ground. A little bit of a stumble and eventually taken down all the way at the 10-yard line.
It's taken by number 3, Rena James.
And that field position story just continues. With that ball having been on the ground, that gives the entire kicking team a lot more time to get there and to make that stop. Ultimately, the ball was touched at about the 15, but gets only recovered and then ultimately tackled at the 10.
Athena Mena initially was able to hit her hands in the air, but not able to eventually come away with that one. Likely would have had much more yardage moving the other way if that one was be able to caught down, but pardon us, and the offense back out there on the field. 41 seconds still remaining, so maybe try to take this lead going into the locker room. A deep pass looking, trying to get there, and that one bounces off the helmet of the defender.
Pass intended for number 1, Braylon Hawker, covered on the play by
nice
15
looking situation. Morgan Hayes on the defensive coverage on that one. As we can see, a beautiful looking pass. Just couldn't quite connect on it. So 2nd and 10, 35 seconds still remaining at your own 10-yard line. Partheness motions her receivers, steps up in the pocket, ends up getting taken down for the sack. Team Saskatchewan with a beautiful defensive play.
Trista Kelly with the sack there, just absolutely was in the way and completed, having a good celebration with her teammates there.
Trista Kelly has been making money here today on that defensive line. A handful of plays.
We can see how that defensive line for Saskatchewan is a threat and something to be reckoned with for any opposition that they're going up against. They are pushing the offensive line back. They are present and know where the ball is and where it's going.
Punt deep in their own end zone here at this point, just trying to get this one out. But again, the battle of field position is a conversation that continues as Ellie Wicks with a nice return there, but we do have a penalty marker down at the end of the play.
14 Sarah Porter. Flags on the play.
It has been a penalty-filled kind of day so far. That one ultimately thrown after the play was done, so likely going to be on the return team, I would imagine.
The thing is, though, is when the flag comes out has very little to do with when the penalty occurs. The official might be trying to find all the information that they need, and the flag is, when it comes out, is not an indication of necessarily what the play is or what the call is.
During the return, we have the illegal block. 59 Saskatchewan will go back 10 yards.
Legal block is on the play, so again, it's always nice to have an official up here just to have everything situated and sorted. But Team Saskatchewan from their 31-yard line, 20 seconds still remaining. With how both of these two teams have been attacking each other, I would have to imagine Team Saskatchewan will likely try to take a deeper shot just to try to get into the end zone, at least get closer to it. Schenner looks to try to take this one deep, finds Ellie Wicks, ends up getting pushed out of bounds. Not quite enough for a first down, but still moving the sticks nicely.
With that push out of bounds, it's stopping the clock until the next snap, so that's going to make sure that Saskatchewan still has enough time to potentially get another couple of plays in.
Again, time at the end of a quarter is always, or at the end of a half is always so important for teams. And finding your running back and having her go out of bounds just helps that so much more. Jenner tosses this one, tries to find her tight end. That one's in and out of the hands. So close. Patelski
could have gotten a little bit more distance on that pass and it would have been in a better position. You could see that her intended receiver there, Patelski, needed to go up towards that ball and wasn't a very favorable position.
Talk with so many offensive play callers, they say put the ball where only your player can go get it, and that's exactly what Jenner did. Patelski just bouncing off of her fingertips, so 12 seconds still remaining. 3rd and short. A lot of motion, and that one hiked, and a little bit of a dysfunction at the junction. Team Saskatchewan unable to convert that one, so Team Ontario likely going to have maybe 1 or 2 more opportunities to send this ball down the field in these last 40 seconds.
Ball's on your own 25-yard line and you got a first down, so it's an opportunity to make something happen. We saw Ontario score twice on really long running plays, so it's a matter of for their ability to score right now seems to be built off of their speed and their ability to find that lane. Once they do, there seems to be a lot less that Saskatchewan's defense can do about it.
Pardon us. Ken has made a handful of really good throws in this game. But also have had Sarah Porter make a handful of really good plays as well. Snap is launched. Pass, a little bit behind, not quite able to get on target. The intended receiver, Katie Foley. So with 2 seconds remaining, likely going to have 1 more play here before we go to halftime. I don't think that one had much legs from the start.
Yeah, and it looked like a pass that was either underthrown or just too far out of bounds, not quite meeting where the receiver was out on a route.
So likely the final play of the half. Let's see what Team Ontario can draw up here. Good snap, the toss, and right into the hands of number 12, Katie Foley. But that is likely going to bring us up to halftime here. So pretty much all that play is going to do is add to some of the stat sheets. And so far here, Gabriel, this has been a really fun, competitive back and forth matchup.
Yeah, we can definitely see that this is these are 2 fairly evenly matched teams. The field position is making definitely a clear statement in this game, with Saskatchewan often finding itself in a better position. Ontario's speed, once they do get open, they seem to be able to win that foot race. But Saskatchewan's defensive line is something to be reckoned with, so Ontario's got to be smart with where they run the ball. They can't go just anywhere. They've got to pick it wisely.
Team Ontario currently finds themselves by a down of 2 points. Team Saskatchewan up 14-12. We'll be back here for halftime, or for the 3rd quarter, in about 10 minutes. You're watching the 2025 U18 Women's National Championship.
Football fans, here's your statistics from the first half of play. First downs for Team Saskatchewan 14, for Team Ontario 12. Yards rushing for Team Saskatchewan 117, for Team Ontario 199. Yards passing versus Team Saskatchewan 126, for Team Ontario 33. Total offense for Team Saskatchewan 243, and for Team Ontario 323. Completions, Team Saskatchewan 7 for 13, Ontario 2 for 8. Penalties, 5 for Team Saskatchewan for 53 yards. For Team Ontario, 6 penalties for 53 yards. Turnovers, Team Saskatchewan 4, Team Ontario 1.
Okay, good job. Good football. I'm having fun. Anybody else having fun? Okay, that's why we're here. Okay, 3. What's your kick with teeth again? Okay, so we'll do one more cheer. Come up. Okay, good job, guys. Plan hard.
Welcome back, everybody, as we get set for second half of football. Brendan and Gabriel here in the broadcast booth with you. Team Saskatchewan currently up by a score of 14-12. Gabriel, what were some of the things you liked in that first half?
We definitely saw a lot of field position and battles being won on the in terms of a foot race to the end of into the goal line. That made it for Ontario, made for those 2 first scores. We can definitely see Saskatchewan's got a defensive line to be reckoned with. Ontario's got to find a way to get around that with their run game, around it, through it, do something about it. We're seeing here that Ontario's going to kick off to Saskatchewan. Saskatchewan's going to start with the ball. Saskatchewan's had better field position throughout the game. We saw a 73-yard run by Ontario to make the second score in that game, in that first half. It's definitely the distance. The distance play is a very large play that makes it for Ontario, while Saskatchewan is able to march it up fairly consistently.
Yeah, this has been a game where both teams have been fairly evenly matched, but one team, without a doubt, has had the massively better field position of the 2, and that team right now is ultimately going to be getting the ball, and let's see how they fare right here to start this one. Not only do they get the ball first, but they also have the lead.
Robin Price with the kickoff.
This one coming close to the sidelines and picking this one right up, trying to make a few moves, sneaking that one off. Duro.
Turn around and able to gain some more there.
Great looking return from Duro.
Duro was able to read where the blocks were and were not on that one, decided to do a little bit of a double take, and that ended up giving her a fair bit more yards. You can see that right here. She turns around, manages to make the most out of that block by number 26 there, Wicks, and really gained more yards than that play was, than where she was going initially. So very smart move there.
Great spin move to also aid her on that one. Chenner in the backfield, Ellie Wicks, those 2 have been dynamite for this offense. Chenner elects to run this one. A short gain on that play. You have to start to feel that Team Ontario has really started to get used to that quarterback run and start to slow it off a little bit more.
Yeah, Paisley Fraley with the tackle on that play. You can see that they seem to be zeroing in on thinking, all right, they need to make a decision as to how they're going to contain this running quarterback, because they know that she's got that entire Saskatchewan offense has a few different options on there.
Pretty much a direct quarterback draw up the middle. All sorts of space, cuts this one out wide, and Chenner with it. Another beautiful run.
Yeah, and a big first down right there. We can see that one that was up the middle, that was supported by blocks on both sides of the line. We'll see the replay here in a moment. Very clearly a massive lead block by Haley Nordquist to make that, to open up the middle of the field there and make that run possible.
Yeah, again, we talked about it a bunch. Quarterback that runs the ball as efficiently as Chenner does can cause so much problems, especially when she pulls the ball back like this. This is Madison Judd with all sorts of space, some good blocking in front of her, and the last second tackle causes that one to not be a touchdown.
We've seen it a couple of times, that absolutely deadly screen pass right in the middle, and we can see a little bit of the strategy here with Saskatchewan, what it is that they're putting together. They had a quarterback run to start, big gain off of that. Now a little bit of trickery with the screen pass, just putting it right over those defensive linemen and being able to get a good gain.
It's one play that is setting up the next play. It's looking ahead, and that's what often a lot of good offensive play callers typically like to do. Chenner now with it. Has it. She's just going to have the quarterback draw. She finds a little bit of space and able to get just towards the 10-yard line. Again, this offense is moving the ball efficiently and violently here at the moment.
You can see this absolutely giant block by Wicks to make that open that up. The lead tackler, she sees her coming up, does a really good job as a running back being a lead blocker to make sure that is completely stopped in its tracks, making sure that their quarterback has a lot of room to run.
Second and about 4 coming up here on this next play, and Team Ontario really just trying to find the key to unlock how to stop this rushing attack. Chenner all alone as Wicks going up for blocking, and Chenner coming oh so close. Did she get it?
Looks like they're marking her down at the 1-yard line.
Nonetheless, getting a first down, so this is going to be an absolutely huge drive for this Saskatchewan team. Again, not able to take the lead later, or not able to extend that lead later in the second half. So far right here, right now, they are
first and goal on the 1.
they are able to get that one for the touchdown.
Managed to push that one through.
And just another touchdown from Ella Schenner. Her third of today. Just been an absolute machine out there.
And here's where you can really see just how long that drive was, from all the way into Team Saskatchewan's own zone and just marching it up systematically across the field to be able to score that one.
Wasn't a one-play drive. It was methodical. It was a handful of just trying to do basically whatever they wanted to do. Last time that we had Team Saskatchewan field goal or PAT ended up turning into 4. I doubt we'll have it here as that one is no good. So we have a 20-12 game here.
The Sintoka kick didn't quite go through. It definitely had the height, but not quite the accuracy.
A very good-looking drive for Team Saskatchewan. Let's see how Team Ontario ultimately reacts here. And Team Ontario's first offensive drive of the second half. Again, later in the last 2 minutes, Team Ontario really started to pick up the pace on the offensive side of the ball.
They're going to want to try to have more plays like that very last one they had at the end of the first half, where they're able to complete passes and be able to make those plays happen. But complete passes seem to make the difference for Ontario as well.
Good booming kick that goes all the way back. It's going to be collected by number 12, Foley. Foley makes
She's
one
got
move.
room.
He has a lot of space. We do have a penalty marker down on the field. She could take it all the way. Yes, she will. Katie Foley with a massive touchdown. A penalty marker on the field and also a Team Sask player also down. So this one could very easily be coming back. And we also just hope that the young lady out there is going to be A-okay and nothing too serious, as we just try to figure out everything on this one. But absolutely beautiful run from Katie Foley. Makes one move, finds some open grass, and then just turns on the turbos.
And we can see it once again that she's got that. Once Team Ontario finds that open space, they're able to have they've got the speed. They're able to make that play into something that's got a fair bit of speed. But you can see here the opening. Once she's got there, now it's a foot race.
Had nothing but green grass, and the nearest Team Saskatchewan player had to go through a Team Ontario player, and that was ultimately what's going to cause there. I don't think we actually saw. Touchdown will indeed stand on this one.
So ruling no infraction on the play. Couldn't quite see it in the replay what was it that attracted it, but with no infraction, that will be a touchdown for Team Ontario. So they're keeping it even-keeled here, and we'll see what happens on the convert. It's a 2-point game before the convert. Score a successful convert here, and it ties up the game.
Talk about a way to come back in this one, and I want to say it's number 46, Maxine Sinkota, who's a little bit shaken up on this play. And again, we're not doctors up here in the booth, but we just have to hope that it's nothing more than just a little bit of a stinger type situation. I'm not. We could kind of see a little bit of it on the right-hand part of our screen, but not enough.
Yeah, she seemed to be grabbing her arm earlier from what we could see, and that seems to be what the trainers are tending to.
A lot of care being focused on number 46, Maxine Sinkota. Hopefully she's going to be A-okay and can come back out. But again, you want to talk about an immediate response to having your opponents with a methodical drive down the field, just taking it back on the kick return. And if you can get this kick and tie this game up,
that sends a message for sure.
Without a doubt, it does. So far, Team Ontario unsuccessful on all their point afters. Kick is up. and it is good, and we have ourselves a tie ball game.
Katie Foley holding the kick.
So, talking about an immediate response, Team Saskatchewan, how do they respond after seeing a teammate go down and ultimately allowing probably the biggest play of the game so far?
Well, Team Saskatchewan still seems to have their offense functioning the way that they would want it to, where they're able to make plays, gain first downs, and while they don't necessarily score on every one of their offensive plays, they're still able to gain the distance necessary to keep the drive moving forward. And that means that makes a huge difference. That's time of possession. That's incrementally changing their field position into a better and better one. And then when they do get that opening, they can still make it count. But when they've scored, they've often been scrimmaging from inside the 15-yard line when they do manage to score, rather than going for those very, very long plays. Somewhat of a small kick here.
A little bit of a squib kick that's ultimately causing a nice little return for Team Saskatchewan.
Taylor Hodges with the recovery there manages to find out that ball is going directly at her.
Ontario's side of the field.
Once again, we'd like to thank our amazing sponsors, Tourism Calgary and the Government of Alberta, for their support in this year's U18 Women's Championship.
So a bit of a surprising play on that squib kick, but Hodges still manages to pick it up and still run for a good solid 8 yards.
It's always a tough situation when you have those awkward squib kicks coming right towards you. Schenner now in the backfield. She has Wicks beside her. And this is going to be another quarterback draw where Schenner makes another good rush. She actually tried to truck her opponent. Actually ended up getting away from her, but the second Team Ontario defender able to wrap her up and take her down.
We can see a very full team effort by all of the Team Ontario players to get around and make sure that they're not getting away. You got to wrap up in this game. Just a full hit like that manages to knock the defender down, but then there's another one right there when she turns. So.
You know what? Offenses just love seeing their quarterback go out there and deliver a physical check like that. That's clearly going to be offside.
There's a lot of penalty flags down here, so it could be a couple of different things here.
Kind of take a look at this one, but yeah, 2nd and 4th. So this is going to bring this one back.
So Taylor Patelski with a little bit of early movement causing the flag here. We can see on the replay. Seems to take off a little bit too quickly. And that double motion there, that'll draw the flag.
Yeah, just that little bit off time from the snap count. So brings this to a 2nd and 9. Jenner moves this ball. All sorts of space, gets ripped down right in front of the first down marker. Great defensive play by Team Ontario to make this a 3rd and short as opposed to 3rd and much more, 1st and much more.
You can kind of see that Team Saskatchewan's offense forces you to do a little bit of multitasking. They've got their 2 receivers that are going there drawing out the DBs, and that counts on a linebacker, number 11, Danielle, to actually go all the way out there and make that tackle.
So 3rd and short. What does Team Saskatchewan draw up here? Schenner, likely another quarterback draw. She brings this one forward, and she's got it.
Schenner takes the ball herself.
They didn't need to gain a lot of yards, but they had a plan to get that distance. And once again, this isn't a matter of scoring on every play. It's a matter of getting the distance that you need to keep the drive going.
These sort of drives are what I've heard coaches describe as kill you with 1,000 paper cuts. We're not going to try to take you the top off of the defense every single time. We're just going to take one little small chunk here, one small chunk here. You often hear the San Francisco 49ers play that very similar style of offense. Schenner with it. Looks to try to take this deep ball. Tries to find Ellie Wicks, and it just goes through the basket. Funny enough, we just talked about trying not to take the top off the defense, and they go right for it on that one.
Ellie Wicks, sorry. Ball incomplete. Be 2nd down.
Just an amazing way to just continue to force different looks from the opposing team's defense.
And you know, we can see just what kind of a pass this is. This is a long pass. It's a difficult pass to make that you're throwing across the field that way. However, you know, the pass was there, and it was just a matter of getting it brought in.
Yeah, and you can see after that one, Ellie Wicks immediately knew that if it stayed in her hands, we could have, without a doubt, a touchdown. That's 6 points going right up on the board. Nonetheless, second down here, another quarterback run. This time a little bit better covered. That one goes right to around the line of scrimmage.
Ontario had an answer for that play right there. They knew what was coming, and they had a strategy for it.
And I know it's such a tough thing to defend no matter what, but if Team Ontario keeps getting those looks, they're without a doubt going to be able to slow that down a little bit more. And if you take away that one-trick pony from Team Saskatchewan, what do you have to do at that point, and what adjustments does the offense for Team Saskatchewan make?
That's right. We've got a kick-style play coming. 2 players on side.
So it goes back, and Team Ontario does touch it and ends up falling down on top of the ball.
Once again, and this after special teams play that we see this field position situation coming up, where Ontario's return team oftentimes is ultimately killing the ball immediately where they manage to get possession or recover it. They don't include that big return. They don't on every time. They don't necessarily get that distance moving right off of that scrimmage to have a better scrimmage play right after the kick. So once again, starting within their own 10-yard line, Ontario has got a first down on the 9.
The field position battle continues to be a topic of conversation. That one a little bit of an awkward snap. Sarah Porter able to gain a couple on the play.
Still managing to make a decent offensive play throughout that, especially with a run up the middle. We've seen Saskatchewan's defensive line that's able to stop those, but this is a solid. This is a longer game than we've seen Ontario get in this game up the middle than in previous plays.
And earlier in the game, we saw Team Ontario's offense really do damage on the outside perimeters, and since then they've been really trying to attack the interior of it. You can see another rush.
Well, right
Sarah
here we
Porta,
see it there.
That is going to be an excellent run. It's going to be a foot race. No one's going to catch her. Team Ontario going to take the lead unless something magical happens here. Sarah Porter with her second exceptionally long touchdown run.
That's a 98-yard run. We can see here that it was just a matter of finding the lane in the defense, because once she broke the one tackle that was there, one hand that got on her, there was nobody else after that. And it's just a matter of finding the opening, making sure that they've got the opening with their offensive line, and making sure they've got the blocks. And once they've got that, they win the speed.
Sarah Porter, not a type of running back you want to use hand tackles against. You need multiple people to take her down, and once she found some open space, boy oh boy, has a little bit of dysfunction, and this one goes right in. Team Saskatchewan, or Team Ontario, pardon me, able to bring this one in. So we are up to 27 to 20 for Team Ontario.
And that's only going to be 1 point, despite it being a run-in, touchdown-style convert. It's still only 1 point in the 6-a-side game.
After that, Ontario now leads Saskatchewan 27 to 20.
But what a job. But we do have a Team Saskatchewan player down on the field here at the moment.
And Katie Foley with that one just manages to take the snap, get up and get something going, finding exactly where the opening is and then getting into the end zone.
I'm not entirely sure that was a designed fake, because that was a little bit of a low snap, and once it kind of got there, just kind of made a business decision to ultimately try to run this one in, and ultimately works out for him.
Yeah, it seemed to be something that might have been decided on the field. To me, I couldn't really see where the snap landed, but it sure was a good, quick reaction by Katie Foley to make that decision to go there and to get that point.
Yeah, eventually going back to take a look at this long touchdown run. A good couple of fakes.
Yeah, she manages to get just inside the one defender that was there to contain. There wasn't quite enough pressure to close in on her, and once she made that opening, and she's gone.
Off to the races. At this time, we'd like to recognize the hard work and contributions of all the volunteers here at Shoaldice Athletic Park, and most importantly, our tournament committee, as well as the volunteers from all the provinces that are participating, providing a fantastic opportunity to all the athletes playing in the 2025 U18 Women's Championship. So talk about flipping the game on its head, as that was a kick that's not going to go too far.
So the kickoff has to travel 10 yards before the kicking team is allowed to touch it. Here we've got Saskatchewan that recovered it within the distance necessary. We'll see what the flag is on the field here.
Offside on the kicking team now. Number 27, that's going to be decline. First down, Saskatchewan.
Offside on the kicking team is going to be the penalty. Just kind of taking a look at that kick. I don't think that was intended to be a short type kick. Just one that maybe got a little bit away from her. But Team Saskatchewan, again, putting themselves in what you'd say favorable starting field position.
Once again, starting inside Ontario's zone on the 49-yard line.
Jenner with it, all alone, looking to try to make that screen pass.
Screen pass again.
Finds Judds. Madison Judds ends up getting stuffed right around the 42-yard line, 43.
But once again, we can see it here. They gained what looks like 6 yards, so that's a long distance to get to that first down marker.
Kalis Daniel.
2nd and 4 is a good position to be in.
Yeah, you'd much rather have 2nd and 4 as opposed to 2nd and 10 or even longer in that point. Again, just trying to get these small yards. If you can get 5 to 6 yards per play, you can march down the field and not really have to worry about it too much. Jenner with it. She's going to elect the run. She's going to have right around the line to gain. Looks like she's going to have enough for first down. Maybe not. It appears to be the ball spotted at the 40. So it's going to be 3rd and short.
We can see here a lot of contact. She tried to go win that tackle, and it was, I wouldn't say that she did. It was definitely a tie with Addison Gallant on the defense there.
Yeah, initially from up here in the booth, just kind of looking at the initial thought she might have been able to get it, but looking at that replay there, it was very well spotted by the officials down there on the field, and that is not a really good sign, as Schneider
walking off, yeah.
as now making her way off the field, taking a look at the backup quarterback, Hidden Chip, making her way out.
Number 17,
that's the risk that you take when you have a very mobile quarterback, is sometimes they do take a little bit extra shots.
Very courageous play, and ultimately it's one you got to protect.
Chip motioning now,
going under
center. Likely going to try to just QB sneak this one up. Takes the handoff, and Team Ontario. That was a very, very close one. I'm not going to call it either way.
It's very close. We can't quite see what it's going to be. They will call in for a measurement at this point to make sure that that distance is applied, to make sure that the determination of the spot is or is not a first down.
Yeah, rightfully so. I think this is a really, really good looking spot here. Again, watching that replay, it's still kind of hard to tell exactly on that particular instance. It's going to be a very, very close call. And just short by a couple of inches. Turnover on down. Ontario gets the ball back. Now, if you are Ontario, if you can go out there and get another score on this drive, that really puts you in the driver's seat.
Yeah, it's right now they've got a 7-point lead. They've managed to stop Saskatchewan's offensive drive, and they have a decent position here on the field. They're at the 44-yard line. They've got an opportunity here to really make a difference in this game. They're leading for the first time in this game, too.
Yes, indeed. Pathanas back in shotgun. Has Porter alongside her. A little bit of a bobbled snap underneath, and she's just going to have to elect to run this one. That one's covered up nicely by Saskatchewan.
Now Parthenae will keep the ball herself, tackled in the backfield by number 15.
And a little bit of an awkward snap, kind of stopping this one dead.
Down Ontario.
Number 19, Kinsley Cousins on the tackle, just got a hold of her and decided not to let go. This was the kind of tackle where she managed to get through the block and wanted to make sure that quarterback wasn't going anywhere. Wasn't going to get that lane.
Parthenis all alone in the backfield. She gets it, looks to pass, sends this one over the middle, and almost nearly intercepted.
Parthenis' pass is nearly intercepted by
Raina James, the linebacker, almost picking that one off. So, Team Saskatchewan, after coming only inches away from getting a first down and continuing what looked like a really good drive, ultimately stuffs Team Ontario and is going to get the ball back. It's always good to get a 2-and-out.
Punt is up, over the middle.
And quickly picked up by Wicks for having another penalty.
Robin Price's punt is taken by number.
Despite the bounce, Wicks still managed to catch that one in stride after the first bounce and still able to run for a fair distance here. Looks like about 15 yards. We'll have to wait and see what the penalty is.
Yeah, it's always nice to either catch it on that first bounce or catch it in the air because you are able to have so much momentum building up on basically your speed as opposed to kind of fumble around with the ball.
So holding on the return will be marched back from the point where the ball was held at the time that the infraction happened. If it happened while the ball was in the air, it's at the point where the ball was first touched.
First down, Saskatchewan.
So first down for Team Saskatchewan, starting at the 50-yard line.
Still not a bad position for Team Saskatchewan.
Not by any means. I was going to say this hasn't been one of their best starting field positions, but by no means are you going to sit back and boo-hoo about it.
Absolutely not.
Hayden Chips still back out there, all alone. Looks to try to take that pass. Gets it to Madison Judd. Able to connect on the pass, but well defended by Ontario.
11,
They were right there as soon as that pass was completed, ready to make that tackle and keep it to only a 1.5, maybe 2-yard gain.
Well, again, getting that looks like maybe 1.5 to 2-yard gain on that particular play, but good job of just immediately wrapping her up. Ship.
Kaylee Daniel on the tackle.
Motions in Wicks. Little bit of maybe misunderstanding on the play, but Ship has to bring this one forward and actually turns what could have been a little bit of a confused play into a decent little bit of a gain. Are we going to have a third down run or a third down play coming up?
after 3 quarters of play, Ontario leads Saskatchewan.
Well, that is also going to do it here for third quarter. I was going to say period of play on that one. Third quarter.
Period is also corrected by the rule books.
Yeah, not technically wrong. We'd like to thank some of our football sponsors: Football Canada, Football Alberta, the CBFA, the SAFFL, the Calgary Stampeders, and NFL Canada. And thank you to some of our amazing sponsors: Hilberg and Burke, Oculus Private Wealth, Lion Venture Weddings, Sleek Signs, Tourism Calgary, the City of Calgary, the Make a Diff Sport Foundation, and the Government of Alberta, helping us all out here. So we're going to have a third and short handoff coming. Wicks trying to get to the line to gain. She ends up breaking a tackle. She's going to go all the way. Can she get there last second right around the 22-yard line? She's taken down. What a play. Didn't look like she was initially going to get it, but was able to break out of that initial tackle and take it for a big gain.
This just shows you why those high knee drills are important. She keeps her knees pumping through the fact that she's already wrapped up, doesn't give up, and manages to break free from that. You've got to wrap up completely around the legs in order to stop. And in this one, she kept the legs pumping and manages to break free of those tackles.
Daniel doing a good job at pursuing her down and just saying, you know what, we're going to take a negative play and try to slow it down as best as we can. Wicks back with it. Has a little bit of space, cuts this one in. Only able to gain a couple on that run.
Tackled once again by number 11, Kaylis Daniel.
Might be a fair bit of a better gain than it looks like initially, around 4 or 5 yards. The angle of the field and the sideline being the blue line near the numbers might be a little bit deceiving for us.
Kaylis Daniels again on that long run, the one who ended up getting that tackle, and she again got it on that particular occasion. Shib all alone in the backfield. Has it.
Looking for a pass.
Scans around, steps up in the pocket, tries to get that screen pass. It's going to be stuffed almost immediately.
Quickly taken down by number 31, Robin Price.
Price was there ready to catch that, and this time the screen pass did not give the same big run that we've seen in the past. She was waiting back there, making sure that that receiver wasn't going to get away with anything.
Madison Judd, the one who was on the reception for that play. So it's 3rd and about 4. Trying to claw back here. Handoff going right up the middle. Team Ontario stuffs that one. Turnover on downs.
Stop.
Scrimmage by Team Ontario.
A key stop on that play. Again, if Team Saskatchewan ultimately gets the first down on that play, they are in the shadow Team Ontario's end zone. Again, being down by a score here at the moment, potentially been able to take the lead if they were able to get a touchdown.
We can see Blaskovich came in near inside the line to try to give that extra blocking effort up the middle, but it was the other side of the line where 2 defenders managed to come through and ultimately make that tackle.
Team Ontario, again, starting out yet again with not necessarily elite starting field position. Let's see how they ultimately produce here in a nice handoff. Couple of redirects and fakes. Can we get a breakaway tackle? Yes, we do. Can they catch her from behind? Trying to reach and grab. She's going to go all the way. Last-ditch effort. Does she have enough in the tank? Yes, she does. She's going to score. Ontario touchdown.
The redirection here, I think, is what opened it up for the entire for the offense there, making the entire defense take one step to their right and ultimately having the ball go left. That redirection was key in making that play open up.
Lopez with an excellent run. Again, that one completely set up by the redirection, like what you're saying. Again, we've seen Ontario have a few of those plays where they've just opened up the run game from Porter and said, you know what, we're going to kind of fake this one.
So off the crossbar, but ultimately did make it through on that convert. And that makes it a 13-point game. Sorry.
Yep, 13-point game.
It'll be a 35-point game, actually, because that one was good. So we had a run in for a single, and that was...
No, you are indeed correct, yes. So 35-20, again, coming into this second half. Team Saskatchewan, I don't think either team really had an edge in this one, but Team Saskatchewan did hold the lead, and they looked like they were going to continue right where they left off, having some really good field position.
Well, we can see that Ontario's defense has adjusted to Team Saskatchewan's attack. But you can also, you know, Schenner's wasn't currently in that last series for Saskatchewan, so we'll see what happens on the following one. That makes a difference for the Saskatchewan offense and their ability to produce. They've had 2 drives stopped here, whereas previously they were driving down the field pretty successfully. And that ball goes over and past the returner.
Duro with it, having to make a couple of moves, ends up getting back to the 30-yard line.
And Ontario here turning the script on that field position, making the ball go past Duro, and Duro has to turn around to go get it, and that's not a good situation for a returner to be in. She's got people there already trying to turn her down as soon as she's turned around and moving forward then.
So with 9:08 remaining, it's not do or die time yet for Team Saskatchewan, but a score on this particular drive gives you just that little bit more comfort.
Apologies on play.
Definitely, with it being the 4th quarter, at this point Saskatchewan's got to be thinking, how do they bring it together to try to get this back here? They know that they've got the skill. We see Schenner is back in.
It's good to see that she is A-okay after taking a hard hit. She's rolling to her right. She's looking for a deep pass. She's trying to find Duro, and just in and out of her hands.
Phenomenal coverage there by Madeline Justine. That was she put herself in the right position to be between the ball and the receiver. and make sure that the receiver couldn't just turn back and get that ball that was slightly underthrown. Just a matter of being in the right position at the right time.
Rowe just couldn't quite finish that one off, but another nice looking play and some good confidence builder for your quarterback coming in off the injury. That one.
And that's an incomplete forward pass. That pitch forward is still a forward pass, even though it's not thrown like your typical forward pass. Anything that's directed in a forward direction from behind the line of scrimmage is a forward pass, and it falling down to the ground like that is incomplete.
Just watching this replay, I don't necessarily think Rowe knew that the ball was kind of coming her way. Maybe got the play call wrong inside the huddle, but that
seemed to surprise her when it was in her hands all of a sudden. Yeah.
So a deep 3rd and long, trying to make this one around. Team Ontario with the key stop. Turnover on downs. If you are Team Saskatchewan, you kind of got to wonder, maybe was the punt the better option on this one?
Alyssa Pastrito with that one, broke through the line and gets a massive sack and for loss of yards here.
Team Ontario, if they're able to go out there and score on this drive.
You can see on that replay, she came in with aggression and intention and just went directly for the quarterback, didn't hesitate, took every single yard that she could on that sack. So Ontario's got it turned around now. They are scrimmaging in Saskatchewan's territory on the 24-yard line.
Handoff given, trying to move this one around. Hawthorne Harper trying to make that extra move, that little bit extra, and can't quite get there, so we're going to 1st and goal. If Ontario ultimately can score a touchdown on this drive, you're not putting yourself in untouchable territory, but you're making it really hard on Team Saskatchewan to try to come back in this one. But an excellent looking
again,
run.
We can see that the blocks opened up that lane right along the sideline, and that's all that she needed.
Ended up having a foot go out of bounds before being taken down, so that's why a little bit farther back than you might expect. But another good Ontario drive. Handoff. Sarah Porter tries to get this one. Ends up finding the back of the end zone, and she scores. That is her 3rd touchdown of the game. And Team Ontario is really starting to open up the floodgates here in the 4th.
Setting up for a 2-point convert.
And it makes you wonder on that 3rd down play, should Team Saskatchewan should have gone for it. This is up. It is good. This makes it a 43-20 game.
Team Ontario now leads Team Saskatchewan by a score of 43-20.
With 7 minutes remaining, we're not quite in miracle territory yet for Team Saskatchewan to try to come back, but you're starting to approach that territory here at this point. Again, a touchdown is needed on this drive.
I would say that Saskatchewan definitely needs to also consider on their defense, how is it that they're going to prevent Ontario from making those big run plays and making sure that they don't lose contain, that they don't lose position, they don't let Ontario just take advantage of there being one person that's out of position. Everybody's got to be perfect on defense.
Pretty much from this point on, if you're Team Saskatchewan, every play on both sides of the ball, you're essentially going to have to be perfect. If you can ultimately get a return touchdown here on this kickoff, that would be ideal because you're taking the least amount of time off the clock. 40 Sina kick return for a touchdown. What are we going to see here? Madison Judd able to pick this one up. She has a little bit of space. Maybe not necessarily a touchdown, but still some good field position.
She caught that in the air and just managed to decide to be very decisive and to go for it. And once she got possession of it, found a good opening and still managed to get a good 10-yard gain. And once again, putting Saskatchewan in a starting position on their offense inside of Team Ontario's territory on the 47-yard line.
And if you're Team Ontario at this point, you have to be thinking likely quick score here on this drive. At least try to keep it under a minute just to continue to try to give yourself an opportunity. And now with it, looking for a deep pass, able to find it right there. Vaskovich has some space. Does she have the speed? She does. Touchdown.
To number 1, Ava Blaskovich.
48-yard touchdown pass.
We're just talking about trying to make a quick score. Well, first play on offense, you go down and get a long touchdown. That is exactly how you want to draw this one up. Now you just need to make sure that you have that extra point. You be good, and then your defense comes out clutch.
Extra 2 points, and we've seen some good, some not so good on Saskatchewan for the point after, so we'll see what happens here. Kick is up. Does not seem to go through.
It is not quite able to get there, and
No good. Ontario now leads Saskatchewan.
as that doesn't necessarily
3-26.
affect the game too crazy of a way. Again, it's still at least going to be a 2-score possession.
Well, at this point, it'll be more. It's
about
26.
score,
Yeah, exactly. The fact that Ontario managed to convert on every single one of their scores in the second half, that does actually change the score here quite a bit.
Yep.
Saskatchewan does need to go and get some more.
But a beautiful first play drive. Again, we talked about trying to score that ball within the minute of it being started. That drive at 7 minutes. We're at 6:30, and you're just that little bit closer. If you can get a 2-and-out on this next drive, that puts you in another really good position to try to go get some of those deep shots. And turns out for quarterback
So is
Sheener,
it an onside kick situation at this point, or are you still just trying to drive as far as you can? We'll see.
that is the ultimate question. Drive it as far as you can and try to
Seems to
get
be
some
the
good
pick.
defense. So continuing to move around, finds a little bit of space. Does she have some more room? And that one taken down. Katie Foley. Again, we saw her with a kick return in this game. She almost broke away for another.
And that's where you see kind of a threat here with that longer play, as you do end up giving Ontario a ball where now you got a kick returner with room to go get those yards.
We also have a Saskatoon player down on the field here at the moment, so not exactly what you want to see, both in terms of the result of the play, but also a player down on the field. It's tough to say. Just a reminder to all of our fans here today to stick around after the game for our Player of the Game Awards. And here on the broadcast, make sure to hang out with us until we have those Player of the Games, because we will be announcing them live as they are happening. It's also just really good to support the continuation of what has been a really fun tournament so far.
Yeah, and after this game, there's also the following game is going to be Quebec versus Alberta. And there will be a French broadcast and English broadcast for that one, so I will see you on the French broadcast from during that game.
Good on you for doing the French broadcast. Cannot speak a lick of it myself.
I had the French rulebook open in front of me, making sure I could get all my terminology correct.
Fair enough, but it does appear, hopefully not, to be too significant of an injury down on the field. And you again, these young athletes, never want to see any athlete go down, but especially this stage, it's always got to wonder and hope for the best. Gabriel, it's been a fun game so far. Brendan and Gabriel here in the booth with you. And both teams have had moments of where they have just dominated. Again, look at Saskatchewan. I would say for a good portion of the second quarter, they really controlled the pace of the game. And Ontario, just throughout this second half, has really just put their foot down and said, we are going to go. Eventually took the lead and then ended up going up big.
Haven't taken their foot off the gas, and I think it's a story of momentum as well. We can see Saskatchewan had it through the end of the first quarter, throughout most of the second, and now in this in the third quarter, we saw Ontario decide where they're going to try to control exactly what, like you said, they're going to try to control the pace of it, and they've managed to do that in the beginning of this fourth as well. So it's very much a story of momentum as well. All of it was Saskatchewan in the first half, and now in the second half, Ontario deciding we're taking control of this game.
And another thing that's also needs to be considered about this particular game from what we've seen here is Saskatchewan has had such good starting field position throughout this entire game, but just not necessarily capitalizing on a lot of it throughout that second quarter. Now, they took advantage of some good portions of it, but not as much as you would necessarily think, and this game could be a lot closer with some of those, and it might be a little bit more out of hand on the opposite side for Saskatchewan, if they did take some of that, but just the resilience from both teams, because again, you saw Ontario. They've started well deep into their own territory quite a bit for most of the game.
Yeah, and what we can see with Ontario's, when they manage to score, it's from those longer runs, when they're finding those openings and managing to get a long distance. So field position hasn't been a factor because they turn it into a foot race. And once they do that, once they turn it into a foot race, it's you can see on the replay right here for as a good example. Saskatchewan might have open field. They're still getting caught up from behind and stopped. Ontario does not get caught up from behind and stopped. When they have the open field there, whether it be from Foley or from their other running backs, there's no chance anymore.
Yeah, it has been, once Ontario finds open space, they're gone. And for Team Saskatchewan, when they found some open space, it's been hard running. But they haven't found that little bit of extra gear. But again, taking a look at some of these long replays, that Sarah Porter rushing touchdown, that's right there we can see on screen.
The long 98-yard one that we can see right there. It's
that was,
there's no one catching up to her the same way that we can see that once Saskatchewan gets open, there's someone catching up to that player at that point, and that still might be able to make that tackle from behind.
And not only that, but that was really the momentum changing of this game, where you just kind of felt like, oh wow, like this game has really kind of gone a little bit different from where we had originally seen. But the young player, we didn't catch the number, is up, but also being supported, and you just gotta hope that she's able to walk off under her own power for the most part. Just hope everyone is going to be A-okay. Being helped off by the trainers, but it's good to see that she
like
is
59,
upright.
Trista Kelly.
Yeah. Well, it's been a fun game so far. 6:21 still remaining in this one. Team Saskatchewan.
They're just going to wait till the players off the field here before they resume play.
The right thing to do. Obviously, you don't want to have anything go backwards and bump into trainers or the player. Team Ontario with the opportunity to try to continue to extend this lead. A long looking pass. Can we get there? Just stopping over. Couldn't quite sneak by on that one. Well, that's just couldn't quite connect with her receiver.
Elsa Blum falls incomplete.
The receiver there, Elsa Blum, seemed to see the pass coming and might have hesitated just a little bit. I think if she would have kept her full stride throughout that entire pattern, would have been in the right spot for it. The ball would have been there. It was a quick pass situation. The ball was thrown pretty quickly right after the snap. Just got to keep that effort up throughout and not hesitate, not look back with questions, but rather just confidence.
Dallas has the ball. Again, looking for the pass. Tried to get it to Sarah Porter. It was a little bit too far behind her, so she had to kind of juggle that one and ends up going incomplete.
Yeah, it was thrown and landed right near her shoelaces. She managed to pick it up, but didn't bring it in, and falls down there. So now it looks like Team Ontario is bringing out their punt unit.
And if you are Team Saskatchewan, this is kind of what you wanted to have happen. Get them 2 and out, punting the ball. Trying to get this ball right back quickly and try to go for that score. That is
Very
a high booming kick.
Price.
Wicks able to pick this one up eventually, but she is dragged down almost immediately.
That was a very big punt from Price, just to see how far that went down the field and high angle. Once again, we can see the catch, whether it's caught in the air or bobbled. That makes a difference. I think that play goes very differently if you catch that in the air and are able to start running. Instead, it's on the ground. But by the time that she gets possession of it, there's already a tackler right there.
Shouldice Field in the valley, just to the, I want to say it's to the north of the Bow River here at this point. Winds can kind of be a little bit of a factor down in this valley, and wind might have played a little bit of a factor on this one. But let's see what Team Saskatchewan can do here. Pitch and catch quickly on this one, but it's slowed down.
Looks like about a 4-yard gain, maybe 3 yards.
Telski on the catch on that one. Well, again, not quite as deep or immediately as dangerous as the last first play on Team Saskatchewan, but 2nd and about 7. Fakes the pass, initially goes deep, tries to hit her target. She does. Ellie Wicks with another big reception.
Right over the middle of the field, ball's placed perfectly. Wicks is able to get it, bring it in.
Shaken up in the play, number 31.
Daniels with the tackle, with the coverage and with the tackle, and seems to be shook up on that tackle.
Yeah, Robin Price a little bit shaken up after that play, but as we can see, just a beautiful pass and just kind of rolled up a little bit on as she was making the tackle. Never loved to see that, but again, talked about Team Saskatchewan needing to make some of these big plays, and they are coming out and doing that in waves here at the moment.
Yeah, it's a matter, can they maintain the momentum after a big play like that one? Can they bring this forward into the next play continuously like we've seen them do previously, like they did on their first drive coming out of halftime?
We also need to see and worry about the clock if they're going to try to get this one. Another deep-looking pass. Can she quite get it? In the gloves and just out. Couldn't quite get it. Ava Vaskovich just couldn't come down with that. I don't know if she would have been able to take that one the distance, but it still would have been a massive gain.
That hit her in the hands, and you could see that she just needed to look that one in. It drops down to the ground instead.
And maybe a little bit ahead of her if you want to talk that one, but another great looking pass from Schenner. She's now all alone, a little bit of a low snap. Still looking to try to toss this one deep, trying to find Ellie Wicks, and that one's going to be picked off and going the other way. Picked off by Daniel. And another big play from this Team Ontario. Again, knowing Team Saskatchewan is forced to throw the ball often and regular. That was a beautiful interception.
Absolutely. Daniel kind of just sees the play develop, determines that her position is ideal, sees the ball coming, and gets right into the right position and make that play. You can see during the replay here, very patiently waits for that ball, sees where the receiver's going, decides, no, I'm going to be there first.
Almost playing the ball like a center fielder in baseball, just kind of looking at it, the size, or just figuring out where it's going to go and just jumps the receiver.
A big defensive play by Ontario.
Cardenas tosses this one. That one goes backwards, but it is eventually caught by Lopez, and Lopez is taken down behind the line of scrimmage.
Here we got a loss of yards, so after that bounce off the ground, she manages to pick it up, runs to the outside, and loses about 3 yards on the play.
Second down.
Still a good recovery, because that could have turned out to be a lot worse for Team Ontario on that play,
yeah.
But still behind the change. Going to have a big play here if you want to try to get into either a first down or third and manageable. Arness with it. Looks to toss this one. Tries to throw this one deep. That is over everybody's head.
Yeah, that's one of those that you could call uncatchable.
Pass intended for number 1, Braylon Hawthorne Harper, falls incomplete.
Hawthorne Harper, the intended receiver on the play, but we do have a Team Ontario player down on the field. That's been a little bit of a story here today.
Yeah, injuries have seemed to be a part of this game as well, and with the game being kind of stopped several times for players being tended to.
Yeah, it's never necessarily a great look. Again, going back to the game we saw a little bit earlier today as well, there was a handful of injuries in that one. And so just got to hope that everyone's going to be able to be A-okay come time she's able to get back out there. Does appear to be able to get up under her own power, which is exactly what you want to see.
Looks like number 13, Julia Bomer.
Able to walk off under her own power, which at the end of the day is the best thing you can say. But clear punting situation for Team Ontario. Ellie Wicks to return the ball, and she has been mightily dangerous, but with where the clock is at this point, you might be looking at this needing to be more of a touchdown or return touchdown if you're going to want to try to keep yourself in this game.
Yeah, now we're looking at a situation where the time remaining, Saskatchewan needs to be able to produce if they want to have a chance of bringing this one home. We'll see how this punt goes and go from there. Punt is line drive over the middle and coming towards the side.
Decent punt that's ultimately going to bounce.
That bounce is
Ellie Wicks.
big significant difference.
Ellie Wicks with it, recovering somewhat of that punt, trying to get that one back to the 32-yard line, but that bouncing punt really changing the sides of the field on this one.
Absolutely did, and once she turns around, she's able to find a little bit of a line along the sideline, breaks the first tackle, but then goes into the pile, and if we look at where the ball ultimately gets spotted, that's where the ball came down from the punt.
Yep.
You catch that in the air, that's a completely different play.
Without a doubt, and you can start to see the wind on the flags being a little bit more of a factor going towards that side of the field. But this is going to have to be another quick type of score for Team Saskatchewan if they're going to want to try to stay in this game. Only 2 pressure coming at them.
Screen pass again.
Going right up the middle, trying to get this one forward.
Very close to first down marker.
Taylor Winter is the tight end on that play, but we're going to have quick offense here. And they're going to say 2nd and inches on this one, coming very close to getting that first down marker. Again, I don't think Team Saskatchewan is worrying too much about having first downs or 2nd and short. They need touchdowns here at the moment. Another wide receiver screen, trying to get this one forward. This one able to eventually break by and get the first down. The clock is still moving.
6, Alex
Dinalanta there on the reception, making a couple of good moves to ultimately get that first down.
Setting up the first down here. They only had a couple of inches to go, but still decided to play a regular play, knowing that they had another chance. So making that pass, making that move up the field, gaining just the distance necessary to keep the drive going.
And a lot of times with screens, you can often see sometimes they just break for a massive amount. Fake handoff. Trying to make that pass. This just goes up and over. Can't quite connect on the pass.
So Shunner there was under pressure from the defensive line to get that out of her hands quickly.
That falls incomplete.
Shunner.
2nd down.
Then after that injury, looks like she's A-okay in terms of throwing motion, but just couldn't quite connect.
Pressure coming in hot from Lissa Pistretto.
Just looking for Hayden Chip, the backup quarterback / tight end on this roster. So big play coming up here. Minute 43 still remaining. 2nd and 10. Jenner, big pass. That one almost picked off. Again, it was a little bit of a battle for the football. So 3rd and 10. This could be the play that ultimately decides the game.
On the play by number 27, Maddie Justison.
A minute 38 still remaining in this contest. And Gabriel, it's been a fun one here.
Yeah, we've definitely seen these athletes putting in a lot of effort, showing that the coaching is thinking of a few different things. This punt is up and to the side.
Jenner with the initial punt up in the air.
Okay, I'm not quite too sure what happened here. Now, if a punt goes across the line of scrimmage and is coming down in the crowd, the officials can blow that dead. There was an onside player right near where it came down. I'm not sure how this one was ruled. However, what we see here is a situation where, because they're behind the kicker, when the punt goes up, that player number 1 there, Hawthorne Harper, could, oh sorry, that's number 1 on Saskatchewan, Ava Blaskovich, could recover that one. Doesn't need to get 5 yards because she's onside relative to the kicker.
Team Ontario back out there on the offense side of things. Really just trying to look for a way to just ice this game. 91 seconds still remaining. A good first down run, but got to stay in bounds. Being forced towards there, that might stop the clock. Lopez with a nice looking run there. Getting very close to that first down marker.
2nd down.
Now, game strategy-wise, usually in this scenario, you're ahead by a couple of scores. You've got the ball. You're inside the last 3 minutes. Conventional wisdom is to try to keep the ball inbounds on the ground because an incomplete pass stretches out the game and a run out of bounds stretches out the game. You want to keep that inbounds, let the play restarts, let the clock restarts when on the ready signal, rather than in this situation after an out-of-bounds play, it restarts in the snap.
Under center. This one right up the middle. Lopez still trying to go through.
Michaela Lopez with the handoff.
Again, going back to that point that you're talking about, if she ended up staying inbounds on that particular play, it would have been
Could be third down.
much more time would have been taken off the clock as opposed to would have been right now.
That's right.
But still sure, third and short, so
3rd and inches, and this time the clock does start on the ready signal, and so we are taking some time off the clock before the snap. She's going to be patient here as she waits to run down until she can't wait anymore.
High formation, toss for Lopez. She has all sorts of space. She's going to be able to get the first down. Stays inbounds.
With the toss.
So again, keeping that clock moving once the whistle or the officials give the go-ahead.
22 permanent.
And this is pretty much the exact thing that you need. But again, if we would have had the situation of staying inbounds on that first down run, we might be closer to 30 seconds as opposed to where we are now.
That's right. And at this point, with the combination of timeouts, I believe Saskatchewan still does have some.
This one a little bit more of the shotgun. Parnas waits for it. A little bit of
Ball's bobbled.
discombobulation right as soon as the ball gets snapped. A couple players end up getting tangled up. That's a fumble with Team Saskatchewan coming away with it.
Saskatchewan comes up with the football at the end of that one.
Really?
That seemed like there was too much happening right at the snap. The timing between the running back coming across, and we can see it right here on the replay. It seems like the timing just wasn't right on there, and the running back just kind of interfered with the quarterback getting the ball, which ultimately led it to being dropped on the ground. And that's a Saskatchewan recovery. Saskatchewan number 64, Rayla Fedischer, is the recovery on that one.
And a great defensive play from there. Again, Team Saskatchewan just trying to look for some points to make this one a little bit closer in the box score. Good couple of trickery plays here. Zelly Wicks looks to try to throw this one.
It's a double pass.
And that one's intercepted. Going to continue to be moved around. Justison with a nice pick there.
27, Maddie Justison.
So there was a double pass there. First one was a backwards pitch, second one a forward pass, and it seems as though it was Schenner, the intended receiver, and now she's down on the play on the sideline here.
Yeah, Schenner took a awkward hit at that play. Appears to be in pain. She was looked at by the trainers a little bit earlier in this contest. Toughed it out for the remaining portion of the game. Only was out for about 2 short series. But again, some trickery here at the moment. Kind of doing a little bit of a reverse where Ellie Wicks, normally the one trying to take that one. Just appears 2 players end up running into each other. And looks
goes immediately for the ankle. It seems like she got tripped up right in the middle of when that ball came down, making contact with that receiver. Both making a play for the ball when that contact happens.
Yeah, that is a tough looking play, but yeah, Ontario going to come away with the win here today, but obviously the concern here at the moment is for Ella Schenner. Just hoping that she's going to be A-okay in this one, but Team Ontario is going to walk away with the victory here today, bringing them to the championship game back on Saturday afternoon. And we're going to have Team Ontario, I believe, playing Team Manitoba. Actually, I don't know if that's going to be decided quite yet. That's going to have to be next game. That's ultimately going to be the deciding factor in that one, I believe, because Alberta and Quebec are going to be playing.
That's right. Alberta and Quebec are playing in the next one. And so Ontario, after this one, I believe that makes it so that they go to the first round game after this?
I believe they go to the finals, yeah.
Okay, so it's the winner of the following game then
Yes,
that they'll be meeting.
Because if
Schenner's being carried off right now, and that's not a sight that you want to see for Saskatchewan. Schenner had an absolutely phenomenal game in the first half and made a difference, put points on the board, made plays, and definitely a very, very valuable player for that Saskatchewan offense.
Yeah, you just hope that she is able to, go home, throw a little bit of ice on the ankle, which is the area that we suspect to be the injury, and able to get back out there for Saturday's contest, because losing her really changes the way that this offense ultimately plays the game. And
Yeah, you have a very flexible, capable quarterback that can make different things happen with that offense. It gives them a lot of flexibility. It gives the offensive coordinator a lot of options as to how they want to make plays happen. But without her, it makes it for a very different circumstance.
And you're then going to have to prepare as a team the next couple of days for practice, really changing the way that you have to play.
Yep.
But the knee is going to do it ultimately in this one. Team Ontario going to be getting the win in what was a really, really exciting game. But Team Ontario in the second half really took control of things.
That's right, and we're going to look at the awards of offensive, defensive players of the game after right away here following this. And any guesses in advance, or do you want to wait and see until it's presented?
More than happy to wait until they get presented. Again, we do have them right in front of us for the players of the game, so spoiling a little bit of the movie magic behind the scenes sort of situations. But this was a game where Team Saskatchewan early in it had more of the momentum.
Yeah.
Then as the game progressed and went on, Team Ontario just, I guess, kind of got back to the way that they should play. And it was a really, really hard-fought battle and an impressive win for Team Ontario.
Yeah, so we're going to have the handshakes here between the two teams, and then followed by the presentation of the offensive and defensive players of the game for both Ontario and Saskatchewan. It was a well-thought-out game, and with the momentum changing the way that it did, it was really who had the wind in their sails at any given moment that really showed where the game was going to go. The field position was a huge factor in the first half. In the second half, it was Ontario having an answer for Saskatchewan's offense, and Ontario still managing to make plays on their offense, making big plays on their offense to make sure that they drive it down the field and are successful in these things.
Yeah, without a doubt.
Ontario's team is going all the way over to the bench to shake hands with Shunner as well as with Kelly, who were injured and stayed on the bench during handshakes. Everybody's going to go by and give a handshake there.
Absolutely great sportsmanship right there. You love to see it at any level, and yeah, this was a really, really hard-fought game, and you saw Team Ontario. We mentioned it in the broadcast that the speed for that offense really started to play a large factor in this game, really just kind of allowing them, when they found that open space, to take that next level and really get to the end zone, while Team Saskatchewan, in those same sort of moments, they were ended up getting caught from behind. And
that's right.
This was a really good game, and the awards have been selected by the 2025 Women's Selection Committee, and presenting the award is Byron Bradford, President of Football Alberta.
The winner of the Most Valuable Defensive Player of the Game Award for Team Saskatchewan, number 64, Riley
Fitchner getting the Defensive Player of the Game for Team Saskatchewan. How'd you think her game was so far?
Well, we saw the defensive line led by Fitchner was really a big factor for Ontario throughout the entire game. For Ontario's offense, they tried to run it up the middle, but they couldn't do so when the defensive line for Saskatchewan was keeping it together. Fitchner also getting a fumble recovery late in the game there, and making her presence known throughout the entire thing.
Offensive Player of the Game, Ella Schenner, ultimately not able to pick up the award because she's being attended to on the sidelines, but again, she was a massive factor the entirety of this game for Team Saskatchewan. Maddie Justison getting the Defensive Player of the Game for Team Ontario, and she was phenomenal all across the board on the defensive side of the ball for Ontario today.
Yeah, Justison managed to be in on several different plays.
For the Most Valuable Offensive Player of the Game Award for Team
The Most Valuable Offensive Player, Sarah Porter, again, just an absolute X factor on the offense today, having a couple of incredibly long touchdown runs. Very, very deserving of that one. And that is it for us here up in the broadcast booth. I know you're going to be calling the next game, Alberta, Ontario, on the French broadcast. So if you are a fan and you understand French, I recommend you checking out Gabriel on that one. You're going to be alone, unfortunately, on that particular broadcast. But Brendan and Gabriel up here in the booth saying thank you very much for watching game number 5 of the 2025 U18 National Champions. We will be back for more football action here shortly.